So now we have a list of income expenditure, and we have the Fletton House update. Has anybody read this?
I had a quick look, yes.
As I can see, there is no contention there, apart from the fact that obviously we still have expenditure on the hub, but that won't be in the next quarter or the next month, because this is the last month that the wages and the expenditure on food, etc., will be in there. So we should actually make money after that. Not make money, but not lose any money, apart from the coffee machine, which I believe is still on rental.
And presumably the till and things like that.
Yeah. But I mean, apart from everything else, we should be okay with that. So I think that's okay there. We have, we then have the QVH update. Now that seems fairly straightforward to me now. The electrical works have all been done, or almost done. I think they're finishing in this month. So that should sort the QVH out for now. But of course, it's a never-ending point. At the courthouse, we have quite a few empty offices, but Berries are trying to let them, and we've had just one other let in the courthouse. So that seems to be all going through okay.
How long have they been, can I ask, how long have they been empty?
I don't know that. I don't know that, Malcolm.
Well, Lisa probably does, but I'll ask her another time.
Lisa,
she's typing. You can wait expectantly. It's better to be worth it, Lisa. Not just saying, do you want a cup of tea or
Here it is.
Oh, there we go. And is that emptiness since August COVID related? Do we know? Yeah. Or just no? Thank you.
Yeah, so there's 5 offices open, but one has actually been taken, so that's okay.
Has Berry had any lookers or anybody looking?
Again, I haven't got that in front of me, so I can't tell you, Malcolm. But Lisa's shaking her head, so the answer is no. Now we know that the on the QVH, going back to that as well, the courthouse. Sorry, there is, as I say, there is the Oundle and Stamford mortgages, so that's good news. But we've still got 2, 6, and 8 vacant.
Yeah.
Leases renewed, as you can see. Herlock, QI, and RJ Neal. So that's okay. So that's not bad. Lease is currently being looked at a preschool, isn't there? There was a preschool in the courthouse. VA, Scouts, and ED. That must be. And lease due for renewal before the end of 20. The courthouse barbers. I can't see them not wanting to carry on. They do a very good business.
They do.
They do. I'm muted.
Peter, unmute.
Try that. Lisa? No,
It's muted,
not me.
everybody.
No, it suddenly said we all got muted.
I'm not muted. Are you muted? Oh, unless my computer. Are you okay now?
You were muted.
I think we all suddenly looked like we got muted. Jen put together.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry, Ian. My
I
apologies.
was going to say, if the offices remain empty for a while, is it worth looking at some sort of, I don't know, short-term pop-up
Incentive?
Yeah, incentive to new businesses, new things in the town as a boon, giving you a foot up. I don't know any details. I haven't really thought about it that much, but I wrote a note down last week about it. I think, is it something we could look at maybe?
I think if we did, Ian, one thing I'd look at first is where number 2, 6, and 8 are, because it would depend on where they are to what sort of pop-up, if you like, or incentive we could give them to open up. Because obviously if they're up on the 9th floor and they're retail, it might not work.
Of
But if
course.
we actually looked at if it was sort of in other areas, it might work quite nicely. So I will undertake going now and have a look.
Brilliant,
Can
thank
I just remind everybody, they are actually meant to be for start-up businesses.
Hmm.
They're not to be, shouldn't be long-term leases. They are. So the people we need to be aiming at are people who are thinking of starting a business.
Well, if I can sort of look at 2, 6, and 8, see what they're like, Val, I might be able to sort of have some idea of what sort of startup businesses would go in there,
Yeah.
and then we could advertise accordingly.
I mean, most of us do know what they're like because they've visited. So, but I would say that probably members of the council who haven't ever visited them should go anyway and have a look.
Well, I've been there a couple of times, but I can't remember which number, what office is number 2,
And
6, or 8. I must
Exactly.
admit. Malcolm,
Can we just put something in the next publication we do, or next article we do in the paper, saying they're available?
but
For
should we
startup.
not put that on Oundle Info,
Yeah,
which is more instant?
We can do both.
Yeah, let's do both. It might be worth talking to this new new publication in as well.
It might be, but what I've heard is they're quite pricey, but certainly we can do that.
Well, the only difference between the two, and I'm doing both, is that they will actually do your design for you for free. So if you need to sort of, pep it up a bit, you just tell them what the
Yep.
sort of thing you want and they'll do it,
Okay.
and they'll
Well,
send you a proof. It
I
might
think
be
they've
worth it.
They don't ever get to me, so they obviously don't actually do the whole town.
Well, they haven't got to me yet, Val, but I'm assured that they will get to all of Oundle in the next week, because they're not actually out until November.
Right.
so they're out in some places.
Anyway,
Some
let's
pieces
get,
you've got
Again,
you've got
moving on.
links. Yeah,
we're just
yeah.
dithering about, messing about.
Yeah.
Okay, we've done the courthouse. Gents toilets. Lisa, I know you can't answer this by talking, but I'm assuming now that has all been sorted out and is in working order again.
okay.
That's a nod from Lisa there. Recreation ground. Now, Ian, you've been dealing with this. I actually drove past it the other day. It looks quite good. There's a lot of work going on, isn't there? Or was?
It's open. I think. It was
it-
finished. Dave's done a brilliant job. He went and got most of it finished last Saturday when I went to go and see him, and he seemed to be pretty much done and dusted. And he's put some paint on the side and wood stuff down the middle, which we need to do every year, I suppose. But I think the fencing was coming down. It's all over social media. There's lots of positivity,
Good.
lots of thanks to the council from people. It's been seemingly very positive so far. So, and it looks good. We've had people from other villages asking where it is and how they can get there and park. So, yeah, all positive. And thanks to
great.
Lisa for working with. And I suppose we as a group need to make sure that we commit to every few months keeping an eye on it and thinking what the next development stage is, particularly with the budget coming up.
Well, hopefully we'll have some more money because of what we're saving elsewhere to actually make those improvements anyway.
Yeah, I suppose just on that point as well, one of the interesting things for me at least was seeing and talking to and meeting some of the people who use it. And I had in my mind they were all 17, and lots they're not quite as old as me, but they're not far off, some of them. And so it covers a whole age range from 7-year-olds to maybe not 70-year-olds, but people that have been skateboarding a long time. So we're hitting a really wide audience in the town.
Okay, so that's good news. Right, Snipe Meadow, I mean, obviously that says it's already completed, so that's done. EV charging now, sorry,
Can I just raise a quick point on Snipe Meadow?
yeah,
Now we've got the path and it's being used a lot, and you can see by the Riverside pass being used a lot more as well. Do we need to think about the next stage, about how we manage it and how we publicize how we manage it and how we sign it as well? You know, next, I'm happy to look at some point at, you know, signs we could maybe put down there to help educate people, because I think, am I right, we've got a commitment to keep people informed and educated about what they're seeing when they're down there. So maybe we're looking at some signs and, you know, the next stage of development again in the next 6 to 12 months.
There'll also probably be the legal ones about how people have to behave, etc. So you're absolutely right. Hang on.
Okay.
so can we leave that to you, Ian? And can
Yep,
you
absolutely.
report back to the next estates meeting?
Yeah, with pleasure.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. Okay, the next thing. The projects, well, that's the workshop, which I think has been put on hold, isn't it, really?
Well, it turns out we don't own the land, do we? It was
No,
supposed to-
exactly. So we can't do anything about that.
No.
So I think we can go over that. The co-op still in talks about rolling this out on a national level. They're being a bit slow. I suppose there's nothing we could do in that area to push them forward, is there? What would you say, Lisa? No? Okay.
I think Lisa's been in contact with them, and they've
Yeah.
been very helpful with that clothing bank being removed, haven't they? So, but it's a sort of higher up head office.
It has to go
policy.
to head office, yeah.
Bit of
Like
a
all
shame.
big organisations, you know, one person doesn't really know what the other person's doing.
That's very much the case, I'm sure.
Yeah. St. Peter's Church, the pathway. Have we, Emma, I'm sorry, Lisa, I know we haven't got you on voice, but have we had any communication at all from the church's administration? So are they just throwing a blind eye to this at the moment? Could I ask you to write to them again? Smashing. Sorry, Val, did you want to say something?
No.
You sure?
Yep. Well, it always takes years to get anything done by the church.
Yeah.
Years. It's,
So it's a
Right,
miracle.
cemetery. Sorry, Malcolm. Did you want to say
It's a
something?
miracle then. So
Sorry?
it's a miracle then if they get off quickly.
Well-
Well, yeah.
they only have the relevant meetings about twice a year or something.
Right.
Oundle Cemetery. Now, the contractor has got on top of the mowing, because I was up there the other day. You know, obviously we haven't got the community payback. In regard to the rotten benches, Lisa, have we got? Because we did actually put 2 new ones up there, didn't we? Which were not wood.
We put 3.
Was it 3? 3. Sorry. Have we got another quote for another 3? How much?
I'll type.
Oh, you are there. You're there, Lisa. We can hear you.
Scheme.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just this second. It's just come on.
How is that?
I don't know.
You've not been
You just
talking.
leaned over, and all of a sudden you said, "I'll type," and then all of a sudden your voice came back.
I've literally looked at every single thing on the toolbar and done every single thing as we've been speaking. Hey ho, hello everybody.
Hello.
Good evening.
Maybe you weren't actually talking. Maybe you were just miming.
I quite like mine. Right. Yes, so we replaced 3 benches
Yeah.
last year, and a 4th one was installed by a resident with our permission, and they paid for it. So we need another 3. They're currently retailing at best price is 3 to 8.99. But if I get the order in by the end of the week, I can get a 15% discount, which brings it down to less than we paid for the last lot last year. So what I'm asking you to authorise is a payment of 838.92 for 3 new benches.
Lisa,
I'm
can I
okay
ask
with
one question? Are we allowed to authorise that figure?
Yes,
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, can I ask if we can authorise this, because those benches are really, really good, the new ones.
they're brilliant. Yeah.
It's a shame not to replace them. Malcolm?
No, sorry, I just agreeing with you. Was all. I thought it was a vote.
No, I was just asking first to see if there's any comment.
Pondering a vote.
Yeah.
Are they recycled? Are they plastic? Recycled
Yes.
plastic?
Yeah, but
It's
they
the
look
metal-
like wood. They're so realistic.
They're
really
brilliant.
good.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. A
They're
bit like the
very, very
boardwalk.
sturdy.
Similar
Yeah.
stuff to the boardwalk. So no
Yeah.
maintenance. They look lovely.
I've got 2 out here that have been here 14 years and they look like the day we put them in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do we have a vote?
Yeah, can I ask for somebody to,
Propose?
Ian,
Want somebody to propose it or
I'll
second
propose
it?
it.
you could second it,
second
Val.
it.
Everybody in favour? Great, that's
Perfect.
carried. So
Lovely.
that's that. Right, the Joan Strong Centre next. Now, the kitchen has been sorted out. The water seems to have stopped dripping down the bricks. That's because John managed to repair a hole in the wall, which was near the drains, the back drains, near the double doors. And then everything seemed to have resolved that from that. We haven't got a leak in the water pipes anywhere else because that's been checked. So as long as we can keep the people off the roof from skateboarding down, we should be okay with that now. The kitchen has been put in, and it looks, you know, I mean, obviously I haven't seen the finished part, but I know the flooring looks good.
Who did that then, Peter?
Oh, I've no idea. A company called Oundle Carpet Weavers. I've never
All right. Okay.
Other carpet weavers are
and
available.
incredibly, very, very competitive prices as well.
I remember you said that, Peter.
Sorry?
Me
I remember
too.
you said that.
So now the roof repairs to the garage, that still needs carrying out, doesn't it, Lisa?
Yeah.
Lisa?
Yeah. I've chased them a couple of times, but they've disappeared off the surface of the earth, I think.
Okay, so should we get somebody else in?
Yeah, I'm going to start looking tomorrow.
Okay, okay. So that's those done, isn't it? Right, so we've got that, we've done that. Blah, 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 blah. That's all done. Okay. Right, so the only other thing that needs looking at are the things that we started to do in February. And everything's done now, including the one that I marked up, which was the public toilets. Is there anything else on there anybody else can see on there that needs looking at?
What are we
Well-
in? Sorry? Are we back on the agenda or on the report?
Well, we've done the reports now. We're back
Just-
on.
just-
Sorry, we're back on the agenda. My apologies.
Yeah, just talking about the toilets, and anything else down that list as well.
Yeah.
Is it anticipated that by the end of the financial year, with the hub not being subsidised to the same extent, will we end up effectively having a pot of cash that we as a council might be able to use wisely for things like renovating the toilets, or will we not have that?
Well, I can't see any reason why not, providing, you know, that there aren't other emergencies come up.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to look at possible emergencies because we just don't know what the next
Obviously.
6 months are going to 6 months are going to sort of occur. I mean, you know, there are at the moment, as we all know, the COVID situation is very unstable everywhere, including Oundle now.
Mhm.
So we have to look at possibly more precautions, more payments to put more signs up. I honestly don't know, Ian.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that, yes, we should have some spare cash to actually do things like that. The new signs on site on Snipe Meadow and things like that. So, you know, and of course, keep improving the skate park as well, and other areas where children play. I think that's important.
I think
Hopefully,
Malcolm's got a point.
Well, we have got a budget or a draft budget. I suggest you look at that and see what items in there for the toilets and everything else. And if you want to change it, then now's the time to
Yeah.
come back.
okay. Well, we can look at it. There's no doubt about it. But obviously,
I
we've
think
got to pay. We've got to pay the bill at the moment for what the contractors have done to it, because they've had to do quite a lot of work to get the men's toilet working properly again.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about other work to do. If you want to do extra work, like put the signs up on Snipe Meadow, you might need an item in the budget.
Lisa, can we do that next time? Once we've got the report from Ian.
Well,
I'm just looking at the budget here because I've got it here. So for St
so
Allsides public conveniences, repairs and maintenance this year, we've budgeted 5,000, which we've not done anywhere near that. And then for 21-22, we've budgeted 15. And I think some of the quotes that we had were around about 30,000 to refurb all of it. So I think Emma's plan was for 22-23, probably another 15, I don't know. But yeah, so we've still got 5. We could still do quite a bit this year, and then next year, hopefully.
But with the hub being subsidised less, I'm sure I worked out somewhere that it would give us sort of a 60k buffer at the end of this financial year. But I don't know if we can.
Actually, that's
Lisa.
about right with the wages.
You can't just transfer bits of money about. You have to budget for it properly, I'm afraid.
yes, I agree. And we have put money into the reserves, or we would have done at the end of the year. When we set the budget, we set it so that we had no increase. We didn't think there should be an increase this year at all, especially with people's finances. And you have to bear in mind that things are very uncertain at the moment. So if we've got a bit more in reserves, then if we've got the money, we can spend it. But just be careful.
Well, I think what we've got to do, to be honest, is look at this again in the new year to see how much we have saved from the hub, and B, how much we could use elsewhere, providing we have the authority to do so.
Well, the budget has to be, there's a time limit on when we have to set the budget. I'm not sure when that is, I've forgotten, but it's not that far away. So we'll have to look at it. You'll have to look at it ASAP, I'd say, I suppose, and get back to Emma or the full council meeting.
I think, if I remember rightly, wasn't the budget set at the last full council meeting?
No, it wasn't. It was only, I think it was only a draft.
It was. It was only the amount we were going to put the amount up that we got from NCC.
No, the budget was detailed on everything we're setting.
Okay.
And all the items in the budget, you know, the wages, everything. So wages increases and not there very much. Where we're going to spend our money. And a lot of money we had budgeted for last year, we haven't spent.
No, hopefully we haven't.
No,
we haven't.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. This year's budget, not next year's budget. If we get to February and find that, you know, there's more money washing around, who can any part of the council approve that being moved, or is that not possible? Because it would seem silly to waste opportunities when there are toilets or things that need doing.
Well, as I understand it, if we're in a surplus by sort of January, February time, the council can vote to use that surplus money that we haven't spent on other projects. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I would have thought that was the situation, because if we have, let's say, £50,000 spare because we haven't spent it on the hub or some other, like for instance, the toilets, we haven't spent the toilets, I would have thought we can shift that to others, but I don't know, Lisa, is that the situation?
Malcolm's going to tell you.
Well, I think we can, yes. Subject, we can't, we'd have to go
No,
to.
we can't. What I'm
we
saying
have
is,
to go to any
Full
proposals
council, yeah.
to council over £2,000, I think it is. I think the other feeling when we were setting the budget was that although we're putting money back into reserves, things are very uncertain for next year. So, you know, better leave some juice in the tank. But yeah, if you want to spend some.
I think if we need to spend some, I think we should put it to the council that we need to spend that. But you're right as well, Malcolm. Where we don't have to spend, I think we should look at very seriously keeping some back for the future, because we just don't know what it's going to be like next year.
No.
You know, I mean, if you look on the bad side, you could say that 50% of the high street will be closed.
Yeah.
In our town. You know, if you look on the bright side, you could say that, you know, there'll be lots more new businesses start up. We've really got to look at what we can do for the town to improve business and keep things flowing in the town. Ian.
Just on that basis, you know, the conversations that we were part of last week or so, Lisa, about with the business association about the idea of sort of pushing Oundle as a town, as a destination. You travel around Britain the last 3 or 4 years, and lots of places don't have public toilets. So we're very lucky to have them, and maybe that should be one of our sort of selling points to help keep the high street open. But,
actually, that's not. I know.
you know,
I know. It's sort of. But most of it's below the belt, Ian. But I think you're right.
So do I.
But the other thing, I don't know if you know. I don't know who has seen this new magazine, but they did a hell of a fantastic piece on Partham Latham's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic. You know, it was an amazing piece. And as a trustee, I would heartedly thank these people for doing that, because it means that.
Can we stick to the subject?
Sorry?
We seem to have a new subject suddenly.
I'm sorry. It was just an off. So, sorry, Val. My apologies. I was drifting. It's my
Yeah,
fault.
that's why I've stopped you.
Yeah. Yes. So I apologise for drifting. Okay. So green spaces.
Have
Do
we got
we
any
want-
green spaces in mind that we might want to include some wildflower sort of thing?
To be honest, Malcolm, I have absolutely no idea.
No, not at all.
Can I just say
I think
something?
Ian might have got, yeah.
I've read the bits of information we've been given, and we get this comes round probably about every 3 years. That'd be about right, Lisa. And we let people let it all go, and we scatter seeds and all the rest of it, and groups come along and plant stuff, and then we get other people who live in the town coming along saying the blooming churchyard's an absolute disgrace. Why are you not cutting the grass, etc., etc. You're on a hiding to nothing on this sort of topic, I'm afraid.
Well, the only place.
Am I right, Lisa?
Sorry, Ian.
Just say that we were trialing an area down on the wreck, weren't we? That and it got put in a bit late, and then COVID sort of happened annoyingly, and it didn't work very well. But we could try that again next year. And I know I planted some seed at home, I think from maybe the same or a different supplier, and it was brilliant. And I know at the school we've gone really big on it now. There's probably about 2 acres of wildflowers now, and it looks spectacular. Unfortunately, this summer no one saw it, but it does look brilliant, and it does in the long term mean a lot less work, but it's certainly not a labour saving option early on. There's a lot of work has to go into working with it, so we could maybe trial that same patch again, but get it ready now almost to kill all those seeds off.
Lisa, sorry.
Malcolm was first.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, I
Malcolm.
was just saying that I have seen some of the wildflowers in Oundle School near the sports centre. It literally looks good, but it's not maintenance free, is it? Like you say,
Nope.
you don't just chuck them down and leave them. They've still got to be looked after, presumably. But
Well-
that doesn't mean to say I'm against it. I'm not against it.
Yeah,
Lisa,
our version was actually maintenance free, but the school one isn't.
Okay.
Lisa,
Yeah, I think it is a lovely idea. However, like Val said, it does get past a point where it just looks messy and horrible. And if it's in your own garden, then you just tackle it. Our maintenance guys are very busy, and I have to say they did drag their heels on it because it was something that was extra that they needed to do. So, I mean, what would be lovely is if we could get the public behind it, or some people. I mean, that's why we thought Oundle Business Association on and this Love Oundle and all the plans they had about the flowers. We were hoping that maybe they'd take an interest, because it's just like I say, labour intensive to start off with, and in theory, hopefully, subsequent years you won't have to do quite so much. But it's not one of those very easy things where you can just chuck a few seeds down and it looks beautiful. So yeah, it didn't work in the rec, potentially because it needed a bit more work, and nobody had the time to do it on board our staff at the moment. So
well, I think we should look at it, but quite frankly, I'd rather plant 4,000 or 5,000 daffodils
Do that as
rather
well.
than, you know.
No, it's a different thing. Daffodils are not wildflowers, are they?
No, I know that, Val, but they do look beautiful when they come out. In fact, that's my favourite flower. So 5,000 or 6,000 daffodils would be very nice in Oundle. I'm not sure,
Who's-
unless it's red poppies. I like red poppies as well. Sorry,
The
Ian.
point,
who-
we're trying to make serious points about
I
this.
know, and I'm being serious about putting 5,000 daffodils down.
That's different. That's a different item. You would put that forward as a different motion.
I know.
Who's
No, 'cause
who's
it just says green spaces plan. Doesn't say what we should do with it.
who's the contractor
You go on.
on the cemetery, and have they got any experience on such things? Could we use them to dibble a
I
little
didn't
bit
hear
there?
the first part of that, Ian. What did you say? Sorry, who?
Who's the contractor on the cemetery who's now doing the cutting, and have they got any experience in this sort
Oh,
of
I don't
thing?
know. I'd
'Cause,
have to check. Because
I-
Emma, I think it's the contractor that does the grass verges, cuts the grass verges. But I'll check with Emma, because Emma arranged that.
because if they've got some experience, and you know, we could almost like contract a certain section again. That would be a different way of skinning the same cat, wouldn't it? And
Okay, I'll look.
certainly
I would
around
have
those
to say-
benches.
The actual motion tonight is OTC green spaces to discuss leaving some areas of grass on various OTC green spaces to grow naturally, and to encourage wildlife and potentially include some wildflower sowing. So it doesn't mean we have to put a lot of wild flower seeds down there, but we could do it if we want. The idea is to encourage the growth of the grass and wildlife.
Can I just say, I don't think it's as simple as scattering a few wildflower seeds and hope they pop up.
Well, we know that.
Does need managing. So
Yeah.
it should be an item which is properly costed and properly proposed if we're going to actually get somebody else in.
I think you're probably right, Malcolm, because it's not cheap.
No.
If another project we had not many years ago was when a group in Oundle planted all the tubs and things around the town with herbs. Great for that year. And then nothing else happened. And the tubs never got planted again. You did some, didn't you, Lisa, to try and put that right? But
I remember that.
just a mess gets left. Unless you had my view is, unless you had a really keen group who really committed themselves on an ongoing basis, the problem you get left with is a mess, which then we have to spend extra of our grounds maintenance people trying to sort it all out again. So lovely idea, but not massively practical.
Okay, so is that enough on that subject? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Any other business?
Sorry, going back to the previous, are we actually going to do anything or just talk about it next time or what?
But it just said discuss some areas. Didn't say we have to do anything.
To be honest, Malcolm, I
Yeah.
can't remember who had asked for it to be on the agenda. I think, did it not come out of the last full council meeting? I'm sure it was an item that Emma said to me.
I don't
It
remember.
was
I don't
discussed.
remember.
I'll have to
I think-
check with Emma who actually asked for it to be discussed, but I don't know. I can't remember.
I think we also conclude we don't want it on the agenda anymore, or we'll do something about it, or there's no point just having it there and discussing it every time.
Ian.
Ian,
Could I suggest that we, once we know the contractors in the cemetery, if we maybe chat with them, and I might talk to Nick on our ground staff, because I'm doing him a favour with these oak trees at the moment. And
Okay.
either next meeting or the meeting after, if I can table a paper that might just have some ideas and costings and stuff.
That'd
that
be
would
great.
feasible. Can I just ask a question? Cemetery, rec, where else do we have green spaces?
all
Okay.
over.
Yeah,
We
you've
don't-
got
We
We've got
don't,
some-
we've only
got Rockingham Hills. We've got various areas that we mow up there.
Mhm.
I think that's it, isn't it? We've got very few. We've
Yeah.
got a few little places that are a little green that we can mow.
Have you got a list of them?
Yeah, in the office.
We've
Can I-
got
can
very,
I-
Could
the
you
whole
email?
argument we had over Fletton Field was because we actually have very, very little green space that belongs to
Exactly.
the council.
Yeah.
Very
Could you
little.
email it, to me, Lisa?
Can I
And
can
I'll-
I just say that obviously everybody knows where Miller's Field is, don't they?
Yep.
Well, obviously the bottom part of that is going to be a natural wildlife and wildflower park as well, so that people can walk through it with wildflowers, etc., on that, and that's round about an acre in the
Is that
middle.
still
of
gonna
Benford
happen?
Road.
Is that
Sorry? Sorry, Malcolm, I didn't hear
that's
that.
going to happen with the demise of our neighbourhood plan? That's still going
No, they're still going ahead with the housing. That's all being put forward.
Okay.
The allotments are already secured and into a separate allotment society, and the bottom part is still going to be for a wildflower sanctuary with obviously animals and etc. that
Good.
go in that. So that's all still going over. A lot of the things that we did in the neighbourhood plan, if the people that we backed still get the, and this is going off piece, so I hope you don't mind, are still going to give us what we asked for instance, the cricket pitches and things like that.
Cool.
Any other business? Shall I go around the table? Val,
Well, I had a chat with the people that Tony said last time that he was worried about the increased crime. And the people at Waitrose have said that the report that they'd had a robbery was total rubbish. So I suspect that somebody's actually posting mischievous posts about events in Oundle that are not actually taking place.
do you think we've got another Mr. Trump?
Fake
Probably.
news.
Ian,
Certainly one of the posts may have been posted by someone who sells alarms, but I don't know if that's true or not.
So what? I couldn't hear it.
So-
Self alarms. I like that
Oh, right.
expression. There's a lot of those in Oundle.
There are. No, not that I can think of. I'm sure there was something, but I can't remember what it was. But no, all good.
Malcolm.
No, nothing.
Okay. Well, the only thing I've got is that obviously with the COVID thing increasing, and it is increasing in Oundle as well as everywhere else, I know that Ian is putting extra signs up, etc., on our boards about COVID. So, you know, if you talk to anybody about it, please make sure that they understand that they've got to wash their hands, cover their face, and keep space.
Ian,
Yeah,
Peter, do you know
sorry.
how many people in Oundle are contracting out? You got any information on how many people in Oundle have had it or got it? Peter?
Sorry.
You mentioned that it's increasing.
No,
in
I
Oundle.
thought you were speaking to Ian. That's why I didn't say anything.
No, you mentioned you thought it was increasing in Oundle, which probably is, but have you got any
Well,
evidence of that?
I heard there was 69 people with COVID and 9 deaths.
In Oundle?
Well, in Oundle and surrounding area.
Wow, okay.
But the trouble is, we don't know where the deaths are, whether in care homes or
No.
everything else. We don't know. Ian.
East Northants has got 474 active cases today, and
Yeah.
it had 385 this time last week and 90 a couple of weeks ago. So that's from just south of Frampton up to us.
Okay.
And on that basis, on the advertiser coming out next weekend, I think it
Next
is,
weekend, isn't
we've
it?
put the government thing on both pages. So, yeah, and there's more signs around town, aren't there? I think, Lisa, as well.
Yeah. Well, that was the next. That was the other thing. Obviously, we're going to have to, I think, possibly spend some more money on more signs, which is part of the estates.
If you go to Uppingham, they've got more sides. They've also got on the street, they've got dispensers for sanitizer provided by the council. Well,
Town or county or?
no, the town council, I think.
What, this is
In the
Uppingham?
marketplace and places like that, they've got them to encourage people to use them. So we
That's
could-
not a bad idea. That's a very good idea, Malcolm.
The only problem with that is you then got to, as we found around the school, you've got to keep filling.
Yeah.
course. There's a cost to it, but as you say, if you've got money spare, why not?
Yeah, it's just a matter of who does it, because it ends up being a daily job. So
Or encourage traders to do it where it's nearby. Perhaps you could speak to the Oundle Business Association if you're speaking to them.
I think most places now in Oundle, be it solicitors, shops, whatever, they have their own sanitizers as you walk through the door.
Yeah, they do.
You know, I mean, that I think actually answers most of the problems. I mean, because Oundle is such a small area there, that if you go into the butchers, the bakers, they've all got these sanitizers in there, so they should actually be using those.
I'm not sure Oundle News has.
Sorry?
I don't think Oundle News has.
Well, no, unfortunately, he tends to sort of not really worry about people, though, doesn't he?
No, it doesn't.
He is a bit of an awkward person, let's put it that
I don't think he wears a mask either, does he?
way. No.
Pardon?
Are you recording?
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I think on that point, I think we should say thank you very much for coming this evening. We should look at possibly putting more sanitizer out. I personally believe that we best left to the shops, and that. Sorry, Lisa. Yes.
When we first reopened the market, Emma and I looked at ways of putting dispensers in and around the market, and we couldn't think of a good way of doing it. Plus the fact we were concerned that the items would go walkabout anyway, so we'd be constantly replacing stolen items. And it's within the market square, it's difficult to have a station, a permanent station. I suppose we could have a removable one, but then you have got the potential that it will disappear. But if you're happy with that, we're quite happy to do a station probably either end, because that's what we thought about initially when you enter the market and when you exit the market. But if you want us to look at that again, we can do.
Why don't you talk to Uppingham people and see what their experience is?
Okay.
and if we do it, put the logo on it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Our new logo.
Absolutely, because then do it in the same blue.
So then if
Not
you
bad.
ever visit somebody's bathroom and they've got Oundle Town Council soap
Exactly.
dispenser. There you go.
I think we
Okay.
should have it in red here.
The logo's not in red though; it's in blue because the website's in blue.
Red's the Trump colour.
Sorry?
Red is the Trump colour.
Well, this is very true, unfortunately. Well, there you go. We can't all be perfect. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm sorry if I went off piste a little bit, but I hope you don't mind. I hope you found it an enjoyable meeting, and I look forward to another meeting tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Peter,
Sorry.
good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure you'll do a good job. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm just hoping that we can get enough people there to actually generate some enthusiasm.
I hope so too.
Sure you will.
Yeah,
Welcome
I'm
on
sure we
board.
will.
I'm sure you'll sweet talk them. So
Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
everybody.
Cheers, Lisa.
See you
Bye-bye.
later.
Everybody say
Bye-bye.
goodbye. Bye-bye now.
Bye.